I haven't filmed anything book related since Jesus Wept. That's how it feels. It feels like it's been that long. Let me get my things together. I think I'm ready. I think I'm gonna do this rapid fire because we have quite a few books and all that editing. I'm getting back in the swing of things. I can't be sitting and editing for 2 and 3 and 5 hours. I need to get the materials to the people. My face is a wee bit dry, but I'm motivated to film, so I'm gonna film. Hello everyone, and welcome to a book related video. It has been quite some time. This is a subsection of my channel where I call it Sill's Books and Wine. In the past, we have had wonderful chats about the books, and I've paired it with wine, but because we are so far behind, and I have so many books from ages ago to share with you, that we're just gonna get through the books that I've read from January until July. And then when we do the September videos, that's where the August wrap up will be. And maybe we'll have some wine at that point. Quite a few books to go over. The stats will be in the description box. Let's go ahead and start with what happened in January. We have 7 books in January. Here they are. Not a very large stack, not a very heavy stack, but a stack nonetheless. Books were read, whether it's 1 or 11 or 50, reading is reading. These are on the smaller side, but I started the year with The Prodigy by Shae Sanders. This book I chose as my first pick of the year simply because I wanted something that wasn't too long, but I also wanted something that packed a little bit of a punch, gave me a little bit of mysterious element, if you will. This is following the Windermere family. I'm using him as my MMC, so we're gonna say he's the MMC. So Jahquel is a part of a family that's well known in a smaller town within the state of Georgia. So currently he's living in Atlanta, and then he has to go home for a funeral. And in the midst of all of that, he's thinking about the time that he has had away from home and how eye-opening that has been for him, and going back home, all of the feels that comes with that, the reason why he left in the first place. And he's just working through that on his ride home, and then he makes a stop at a bar, and that's where he meets the FMC. Now, they went to high school together. He doesn't remember her, she vividly remembers him, and from there they have subtle interaction, nothing too crazy. He ends up getting into the parking lot, ready to go home, finally face the music, and someone is trying to kill him in the parking lot. Whoa. He makes sure that he defends himself, right? But now we have a witness, and now I have to take the witness with me. And that is where our story begins. All of that within the first 50 pages. So I didn't give anything away. There we go. I rated it 5 stars. It was a good start to my reading year. Cute little novella here. This is Week for You by Aubry J. I think I went into this at the wrong time for multiple reasons. I think that this is something that you read when you've already been in her catalog, and it was something that I decided to read because it was short. Now, I think my rating probably would have still been the same given what I've learned, but the way that people rant and rave about it, I didn't understand. Hear me out. The names are too heavy for this book to be this little. You get what I'm saying? Like, no reason why someone's name should be, they're all biblical names. Let me go to some of the names. Zechariah, Hezekiah, Malachi. The names were so heavy. Some of them, I thought some of the men were women, some of the women were men. I just could not figure out who I was talking to. One of the men's names is Judge. Like, please. So the names were throwing me, and because I didn't get an explanation as to why their names were their names until I was almost out the book and into another book, I was just like, this is not for me. This is not the Aubry J book that makes me an Aubry J fan. This is the one that lets me know the names might never sit well with me. It's too much. The names are, you know, when you meet a child, they might be toddler age, and then the parents are like, oh, his name is Hezekiah. He's too young. He's too young. That name is too intense. That name is too intense for him to be that young. Some of these names were just a bit much, and I think that was distracting me from the book overall. The story in itself, I think, was fine. It was just fine to me. I can understand why people enjoy it. It's just not for me. I gave it 3.5 because the areas of it that were for me worked for me. I'm still going to go through her catalog and find what's for me, but It's not this one. Book 4, Sinful Desire from Asia Monique. This is book 4 in the Mafia Misfits series. I have been slowly taking my time with Mafia Misfits. I know that I have maybe 3 books left in the series, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3. And this one I really enjoyed. These are characters that we met ages ago. And I love the dynamic between them. We have Gianna, she's in college. And then we also have, I want to say, what's his name? He's one of the O'Sullivan, Mr. O'Sullivan. We'll get to it. Anyway, I like their dynamic because I think what's interesting about mafia related or cartel related books, I noticed that a lot of people that don't like them, they are wanting the characters to communicate in a way that is more of a contemporary romance style of communication, where it's cute, it's loving, it's caring, it's soft, it's adoring, it's all of those cutesy things, when really, when I think of mafia or cartel families or arranged marriages or any, this is not arranged, when I think of relationships in the underworld, I think of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I think of the Underwoods. Is it the Underwoods? Characters in House of Cards, where they're not really Mr. and Mrs. Underwood. The Underwoods, right? Yes. I think about how their dynamic doesn't look very loving. To people looking into their relationship, it doesn't look very loving or caring. But they do care about each other and they do love each other. They're just not that affectionate. There's banter, it's dry humor. And I think if people think about cartels and mafia romances in that way, maybe they can find some sort of enjoyment in them instead of thinking, oh, they don't even like each other. Trust me, they do. They do. He was very affectionate towards her. He was giving her the space and opportunity to be herself. He wanted to make sure that she was ready for the relationship that he's always wanted with her. He wanted to build with her. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5. Carried Away by Natisha Raynor, I think it is. Natisha Raynor. Correct me on the pronunciation. Thought I was going to like this a lot more than I ended up liking it. I think that we have some, I don't know, my reading year at the beginning of the year was taking a turn at this point. After I read Week for You, it started to shift, okay? So when I picked this up, I'm thinking, okay, I remember people talking about this turning into a twin situation, so there's another book to this. So this is my intro to the author. It was something about the dynamic within the book that I just was just like, I don't know. The male main character, he is very helpful, very understanding of the situation that the female main character is going through. She has health issues. She has children. She's dealing with a terrible ex, an abusive ex. It just was one thing after another, and she ended up having to move from the environment that her kids have known. Big, beautiful house, cars, clothes, money, name brand this, and then they moved to this like quaint home. And it's just kind of like, I don't know what I wanted out of this, but I think I was not picking it up every second because I really needed to finish it. I was just going through the motions of reading. 3 stars. It was fine. Next, we have Free Game by, I'm looking at the TV because I don't want it to turn off. Anyway, we have Free Game by Kema B. Another book that I thought I would rate it a bit higher than I did. I'm gonna tell you now, I gave it 3.5. The male main character, when he came in, I was like, okay, he's confident. Everybody knows he's confident. Everybody is loving this guy. Okay, great, great, great. Female main character paying him dust because she doesn't want to be involved with anyone of his status. He is a rapper, ready to retire and do all the things post rap career. She doesn't want to be involved with anyone in that lifestyle. She just wants something else. And she's trying to avoid it, but flirting with him and drawn to him and giving him looks. And it's like, you like the man. I don't know why we're playing this game. They do this back and forth. They make an arrangement. The tug of war, I wasn't getting the emotional payoff that I needed from the book. I enjoyed their dynamic when they were doing the flirty back and forth. But it was just like, for how long? For how long? I wasn't as moved as I thought I would be. 3.5 because at the time of my reading, considering everything else, 3.5. Payback is a Mother by the Wahida Clark. Be jealous. Thank you. Wahida Clark signed my book at Black Romance Book Fest earlier this year. And I had to let her know that thank you for writing this. Not only because it helped get me out of what I thought was going to be a terrible reading year, but I wanted to get into some of what are deemed the classics of the genre. And this is one of the ones that always comes up. This is one of the ones that I had to get into. And given the time period in which this was written, you have to go into it with a different mindset. Don't try and read this if you're gonna protest and riot in the streets. Don't, okay? Because given the time that this was written, this is fine. So if you're not a reader that can compartmentalize, you don't need to touch it. Leave it where it is. This one, oh, so many things were going on. Don't lean romance. Think urban fiction, okay? Girls after the men with the money, going to the club, men are cheating, men are catching things, men are down low, this one scamming and scheming and plotting, this one getting beat up. All the things are in here, and it's not that big. It's not that big. So I do have to continue with this series. She did email me, which I thought was really interesting, because at her table at BRBF, you would put your name, what you've read, and your contact or something along the lines of that. So she reached out to see if I've continued the series yet. Haven't reached out yet because I haven't, but I will. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. What would I have changed? When I think about why I don't give a book 5 stars, I think that a lot was going on in it, but because I didn't review this and present it to you until now, couldn't tell you why that 0.5 wasn't on there, but 4.5 it is. Then I went back into Shae Sanders' catalog. You know, I started the year with the Prodigy. This is book 2, and this is the Prodigy 2, Rise of a Queen. This one follows the FMC from book 1 and what's going on with her. Why are people looking at her weirdly, strangely, oddly? And given how book 1 ended, that is why we have the Rise of a Queen as the subtitle of the book. I will not go into much of this because I don't want to ruin it for anyone that's going to read the series. This one I gave 4.5 out of 5 stars, and the series is called the Family Ties series. Because I realized as I watched the footage of this reading vlog that I'm swollen in the face, number 1. Number 2, my hair is lopsided and dry for most of the video, but the point is, I was reading. That's all that matters. I was reading. But I want to say that something I started on my TikTok, Sill's Books and Wine, which I haven't shared any wine really, it's coming. The first 50 pages. I think there's a lot to be said about what you've read in the first 50. It either presents itself in a way like, good preview, good trailer, I'm interested, let's keep going, let's see what happens. If that first 50 is a drag, is slow, I can push it to 75, but my goodness, if you are not gripping me by 50 to 75 pages, you think I'm about to go to 300, 400, 500 plus? That seems like a punishment. I don't know. I'm having such a good time that I felt like work was getting in the way of me reading. Why is he concerned about that? Why is he concerned about that name? Why is he repeating it like that? He said, don't say nothing to me, not when you mixed up with those people. Why does everybody know something we don't know? This is the second person who has told this girl, basically be careful, that family's dangerous. What are we talking about? Like, I kind of know, but why do we keep saying that to her? What's going on? I just looked at how long I've been recording. I need to pick up the pace. February, I read 1 book, thought I was gonna read like 5 books, read 1, Only for the Weak by Natasha Bishop. I think this book, really good book. I think where I failed at being a reader was trying to immersive read this book. I sometimes like to read in tandem with the audio for like thrillers, mysteries, horror, if you will, because I think that that really heightens the experience of the book. I didn't need to do that for this. I think I would have rated it higher if I would have just left it to me to read. Because when we start adding in other voices that aren't the voices that I think the characters would have, now I'm getting disgusted. Now I'm getting irritated. Now I'm getting annoyed. Even though I rated it 4 stars, I think I would have rated it higher if I would have taken my time and just read it without the audio. 4 stars currently. I'm not a rereader, but currently 4 stars. And whatever the people say about it positively, I don't know what the negatives are, but whatever everyone else is saying about it on the positive side, I think you should believe them and give it a read. And again, my reading was really slow first half of the year. So I only read 1 book in March. Beautiful book it is. This is The Return of the Carter Boys. This is book 2 in this series. Sometimes you'll see that it says 4, and then sometimes you'll see that it says 3. It just depends on when you caught it. I caught it when it was only 3. So this is book 2. Had a great time. Always have a great time with the Carter Boys. I love them. I dislike them. I'm irritated by them. They're rude, disrespectful. They're inappropriate. They're possibly colorist, 1 or 2 of them. And then it's like, you're lying, you're disrespectful. It could go either way with them. You never know. 5 stars. Can't tell you much about it because I don't want to ruin book 1 for you, but 5. Desiree, also known as Granger, same person, different sides of her writing. Okay, hopefully I'm putting it on the screen. In April, I read 1 book, and it was Match My Nasty by Norfleet. I was getting upset at this point in my reading. I was getting very upset. I was getting very annoyed because it didn't flow for me. I have a lot of her books ready for me to read, and I want to read them. So all I can say is this is not for me. It just wasn't my type of erotica, and I have a type. So 2.5. Nothing in May. Let's go to June. I didn't do any reading in May, and I thought that by that time I would have so many books under my belt so I can take to Black Romance Book Fest. I thought I was gonna get so many books signed, but I'm going to leave a link down below for my, well, if you don't know, I have a TikTok account just for book related things. So if ever you're wondering what I'm currently reading, what I just finished, it will be in real time over there, or as close to real time as possible. I didn't really get much reading in. And then when I went to BRBF, that is where it all reignited. I was like, I'm excited again. I can't wait to pick up the books that I already own. Can't wait to pick up the books that I already bought, pre-ordered, just bought, so on and so forth. So here we are, picked up Garden Party from Aria Daze Table. And I will say, Group Trip over Garden Party. If you've read Group Trip, I would pick Group Trip over Garden Party. It's a continuation in a sense because it's the group and then a few others. But I think that there's something about Group Trip that made that one bump up on my Aria Daze list of books. And this one is just like, it's fine, you know? So I gave it a 3.5. It was fine. Then another book that I picked up at BRBF, this is the Housewives of the Drug Game, Azul and Justice's story. This one, kind of interesting concept with these two. They've known each other for years. They hustled together. They made money together. Love of his life, actually, but he's married to someone else. They go into detail as to why. Not that it makes it any better, but it just made for an interesting concept. It wasn't like the love of his life was in the dark about him being married. I can't really tell you much else without you reading it. Now, can I? 3.5 is what I gave it. I think that it was fine. I think that it was fine. That's how my reading has been going. A book that I started, when did I start this? Maybe earlier in the year, March, April, something like that. It is a little bit on the thick side. It's a little thicker. You can see that I do have my tabs. Yeah. A legend and an icon. Beautiful author, by the way. I got to meet Jessica when I was at Black Romance, and this is in fact signed. Excuse me. There it is. Don't scare me like that. Don't scare me. There it is. Absolutely. So she was signing it while I was in the middle of reading it. So my bookmark was in there. Tabs were on their way. And so that means I maybe started this April. Icon over legend. So sorry. I don't know if we have any legend fans out there, but I have enjoyed Icon throughout this story. I haven't picked up book 2 yet. I will say it's 2 brothers. Of course, they're involved in a cartel family. And we also have some lies and deception, family dynamics, secrets that are exposed. We also have some family members that we didn't know were family. We're finding out all of this first 50 pages, by the way. We're also finding out that the love interests, they all have their own things going on. Somehow, possibly might intertwine with the cartel family. Who knows? But it was a good read. 4 stars. I think we could have gotten a few places faster. This is where we start to speed it up. 4.5 stars because he is really scarred, damaged, traumatic experience he experienced. He was gonna go propose to his girlfriend. She ended up not being home, and his brother was missing too. And then he just turned into a menace after that. 4.5. Secrets of a Billionaire Bishop. You want to tell me what this was about? You want to tell me the reason for making this? You want to tell me the reason why everybody had a secret? You would almost think, do I have any secrets left? And we need to, I have a tab in here that I have called, I'm calling IAB. Look at my tabs. Look at that. The tabs are there. Lies, deception, murder. All of it is happening in here. And it didn't stop. It felt like it wasn't stopping. It wasn't stopping. I gave it 4 stars because I couldn't put it down. But also like, stop what you're doing. 2 things have happened. 2 books got delivered while I was filming this, and I know I'm gonna need to charge the battery in a few minutes, so I might have to make this 2 parts because the next stack of books, I have a lot to say. Anyway, next we have book 1. This is my first Jahquel J book. This is my welcome into her world, welcome into Ja's universe, and I bought this book 2 years ago, a year ago. And I did end up meeting her last year at BRBF, but I ended up buying a huge stack of books during pre-order for this BRBF. And I said, you know what, this is my time. It's my time to really get into her catalog because I have everything now. I didn't update the tabs, but this is them. You might not be able to see them, but they're there. They're there. I was into it. First 50 pages, we have 2 boys that grew up together. They were jack boys. Jack boys means that they were taking people's cars, stealing them. And then they turned into street racers, made it a lucrative business. It wasn't like anything I have read. They realized there's a lot of money in it, and they created the Van Cromwell connection that you hear about throughout Ja's universe. And because of that, I wanted to start with this particular series before I get into the Capone and Capodanas and Capris of it all. Learning a lot about some of the characters, the backstory. I truly enjoyed this story, from the racing to the friendships to the family dynamic, how the brotherhood amongst the 2 friends formed and extended to the children on each side. So I find that that has been enjoyable. With this book, I did do a first 50 pages video on my TikTok. So this was really good. The ending, insane, because what was that at the end? 4.5 out of 5. I will be continuing this series. It's up here. It's up on this shelf, book 2 and 3. So I will get into that before the year ends. I hope to finish the series. So with that, we're closing out part 1. It has been lengthy. Hopefully I can get it down to a reasonable time frame, because when we come back, we have these in part 2. So I'll see you in part 2.